The Behemoth class is the largest dropship ever constructed. The ship masses 100,000 tons, nearly twice the size of the next largest dropship. Because of its tremendous bulk and low maneuverability, the ship cannot land on a planet. Instead, it must employ shuttles and other space vehicles to move its cargo to and from the surface. This extra stage in its loading process increases the vessel's operating costs considerably, limiting its usefulness for most merchants. These high costs of running a behemoth ensure that only the largest trading companies can afford to operate them, and they only do so on the busiest trade routes, far from any conflict. Because of its sheer size, the behemoth suffers from a number of drawbacks, including a relatively weak structure and the tendency of blocking a second hardpoint on JumpShips. While its finalized design was officially only launched in 2782, the Behemoth class of dropships had a complicated design history going back as far as 2650. The Terran Hegemony had originally promised the designer, Krester's ship construction, in the planning stage that the Behemoth and Mammoth designs could be sold outside the Hegemony. But in the prototype phase, they changed their mind. Just after they announced this decision, 2 prototypes were stolen from the moorings and sold off to the highest bidder, raising concerns that the designs could be re-engineered. This made the Hegemony again reconsider their stance, and they allowed Kresters to sell the design abroad after all. Although there was a lingering suspicion that Kresters had somehow been involved in the heist, nothing was ever proven. Sharing the design with foreign powers ensured that the Behemoth would stay in production and use even after the demise of Krester's ship construction. The Behemoth's cylindrical hull measures roughly 200 meters across. The cargo section can carry close to 85,000 tons, or roughly 10 times the cargo capacity of a Mule-class dropship. Its Sunburst M200L megadrive, the largest fusion drive available, weighs more than 3 fully loaded Union-class dropships. Even with this tremendous power, however, it is unable to provide more than 1 g of acceleration. The maximum is approximately 1.5 gs, but running the drive at this level causes stress cracks in many components, which are very expensive to repair. As a result, most vessels rarely operate the drive above half capacity. Unfortunately, repairing this drive is also quite time-consuming. Besides needing months to obtain the services of a major repair facility, the repair itself takes many weeks, and the repair cost is substantial. As a civilian cargo carrier, the Behemoth's armament is pitiful at best, consisting of 4 large lasers backed up by 10 medium lasers. Intended as purely defensive, they are arrayed along the bottom rear of the craft, with a nose completely bare. Keeping the craft far away from any need to use these weapons because of a vessel's high cost has protected them far better than the lasers and 15 tons of standard armor ever could. The ship's engine core, power plant, fuel tankage and associated equipment make up the lower tenth of the interior. The bulk of the ship, however, consists of 20 large cargo bays. Each is a disc-shaped area capable of holding about 4,000 tons of cargo. Running throughout the center is a large supporting structure that contains 4 heavy-duty elevators and 4 personal lifts. At opposite ends of the deck are large cargo doors. The ship's high degree of compartmentalization allows the ship to take on cargo that cannot be exposed to vacuum. 4 decks for equipment and personnel are located above the cargo deck. The lowest of these contains a life support system, parts storage and the Behemoth's small craft base. Each of the 4 decks is a wide disc surrounded mostly by water tankage and the ship's moderately armored hull. Running through the center are the air circulation systems, maintenance accessways, control system cabling, and the 4 personal lifts from the cargo decks. The lower deck in the command section is an equipment deck, which contains the life support system, waste treatment, repair parts storage, equipment storage, ship laundry, ship emergency batteries, heat sinks, a small detention area, a machine shop, and a pair of small craft bays. The second command deck houses most of the ship's 50 crew members. Crew members aboard the Behemoth have individual rooms that, though small, are comfortable. Each is equipped with a bed, a desk, and a chair, storage closet, and a tiny washroom. In the center of the deck, surrounding the central elevator structure, is a large lounge. Adjacent to the lounge is the main mess facility, which can accommodate the entire crew at one sitting. During non-mealtime hours, the room is often used for additional recreation space. Also located here is a galley and a large food storage facility. At the opposite side of the lounge is an exercise room, and next to that is the ship's medical bay. The third command deck contains the quarters for the ship's officers. In addition, it contains a small lounge, mess facility, and a large hydroponic garden that supplies the crew with fresh vegetables and small amounts of oxygen. The last deck contains the bridge, which controls the life support, internal security systems, cargo doors, elevator, master control, and flight communication, navigation, computer, and weaponry controls. Because the bridge has a lot of power over the internal operations of a ship, security on this deck is tight. No one except for the bridge crew is allowed here without special permission from the captain. The internal layout of a Behemoth is such that the bridge deck is self-sufficient, with independent life support and power supply, and it can easily be sealed off. Seizing control of a Behemoth is thus nearly impossible. Besides the bridge, this deck contains a long-range communications gear, weapons fire control, deep space radar, navigation system, the ship's computers, local life support, and emergency batteries. Because of its poor maneuverability, lack of armor, and meager weapons array, the Behemoth has rarely seen used in combat. For this reason, few have been destroyed and many are still operating today.